the opportunity to just think about a question that I really want to know the answer to and then design an experiment to address that question is really cool. I think it was a passing encounter in one of my early undergrad classes. I majored in psychology thinking that I might want to do counseling eventually, but I had a teacher for cognitive science who talked about sort of the history of how cognitive science started, and this was maybe 2005, and at that time cognitive neuroscience was a really nascent field, and he talked about how, this whole thing really opened up just 10 or 15 years ago, and I thought that was so exciting. I was able to connect with a wonderful mentor who was this woman who had just started as an assistant professor and was starting her lab. And I was able to sort of just pop into her office and ask if she had any research positions available for volunteers. And she got me involved in EEG and event-related potentials research. I now work in functional MRI neuroimaging primarily to try to understand the brain circuits that are impacted by trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder. And I co-direct a big group that studies civilian trauma, the Grady Trauma Project, and we work with under-resourced minoritized populations, primarily with Black American women. I was able to study sort of how does the brain instantiate emotions, and what's the difference in the way that the brain is engaged in one emotional state versus another one. But I had a lot of trouble explaining to, for example, my friends or my grandparents, just, why would somebody want to do that? So after I got my PhD, I decided that I wanted to learn new skills that might connect more with mental health and brain health more broadly. And so I went to a lab that was studying post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a condition that involves sort of difficulties with emotion regulation. So it connected to my earlier research, but had a more clear impact on, maybe we're going to be able to do some research that will actually impact people's everyday lives. So in my lab, we have undergraduate interns who are getting involved in research for the first time. We have graduate students and we have medical students who are interested in learning about research. And I just really enjoy working with students from a variety of backgrounds. One of the hardest parts, which I don't want to discourage students, because when this comes, you're kind of ready for it, but one of the hardest parts is all the rejection. So we're constantly putting in proposals for grants to fund new research, which are reviewed by a panel of other scientists and researchers, and who do amazing, pretty much about volunteer work to make sure that the best things get funded. But there's more rejections than there are acceptances, and that can be really painful. Yes, so I went to public school, sort of coming up in Georgia, which isn't known for its excellent public schools. And so I really never considered a career in science. Just didn't think of that as an option. It seemed like something for other people. And so I think that mentorship experience that I mentioned really helped put me on the path. First year of grad school, I think I cried every day. There were just a lot of things that I wasn't expecting. But after that initial adjustment period, I just loved the work so much, just really satisfied my curiosity, that after that point, I didn't really question things again until I had my first baby and just took a complete break for 3 months from all of the things that I had been doing in the lab. I think conversations with a great mentor who was also a parent and still had an amazing scientific career really helped me sort of sort through all of that and get through that period. And I'm so glad that I did come back after my maternity leave. Try not to be discouraged if you have trouble finding opportunities initially. So think about several different interests that you have and maybe pursue conversations with a couple of different people who are each working in those spaces. I think it can be hard to find sort of your first couple of experiences in research. And I found it very discouraging when professors told me, like, no, I don't have space in my lab right now. But just try not to take it personally and explore a lot of options.